In this video, you are going to learn how to interpret the average rate of change. But before we can interpret it, we have to know what it is and we have to know how to calculate it. So the rate of change is simply rise over run in a graph, which we have done before. So let's look at the most simple example that there is, a perfectly straight line. If I want to find the average rate of change, the first thing I need to do is find some points on this line. So I'm going to go along this line, and everywhere I see a nice point, I'm going to draw one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the average rate of change in between all of these points. Or I'm going to find the rise over run in between the values. So in between these 2 points, I'd have to go up 2 and over 1. So my rate of change is 2 over 1. On the next interval, I'd also have to go up 2 and over 1. Same as the next interval. And same as the next interval. So you'll notice that all of these rates of change are the same. My average rate of change is 2 over 1. Which makes sense because this is a straight line. For something to be a straight line, it has to have a constant rate of change. Now let's look at something a little bit more challenging, something that's not a straight line. Here's a parabola. Again, we want to find the rate of change. So I'm going to go through and make some points along this parabola so that we can find the rate of change over these intervals. So for my first interval, I'd have to go down 5 spots and to the right 1. So the average rate of change here is negative 5 over 1. On the next interval, I only have to go down 3 and over 1. And here, I only have to go down 1 and over 1. Now, if I start looking at the other side of my graph, I'm going back up. So my rates of change are now going to be positive. But as you can see, in between each interval, the numbers are changing. So on this parabola, we ended up with 6 different values for our rate of change. They're different every single time. And this will happen anytime you don't have a straight line. The only graphs that have a constant rate of change are something that's a straight line. If it's not a straight line, my rate of change values are going to be different between each interval. Now let's see what this might look like on your assessment. We have another parabola, and it's telling us to find the average rate of change from x equals 0 to x equals 1. So it's telling us to look at a specific interval, x equals 0 to x equals 1. So on my graph, here is where x equals 0. Here is where x equals 1. We want to know what happens in between these 2 parts on our graph. So here's x equals 0 and here's x equals 1. On this interval, my rate of change was that I had to go up 3, but I only had to go over 1. So my average rate of change there is 3 over 1. But now it's asking me to find the average rate of change from x equals 1 to x equals 2. We have a new interval to look at. So x equals 1 to x equals 2. What happens on that interval? So from here to here, well, I had to go up 1 and over 1. So my rate of change here was 1 over 1. Now it's asking me, why are these 2 values different? And if we think back to our 2 previous examples, the only time we had a constant rate of change was if we had a straight line. If it's not a straight line, our average rates of change are going to constantly be changing. So why are these 2 values different? Because a parabola is not a straight line, and only straight lines have a constant rate of change.